Welcome to Dub Nation, the official show of the Utah Warriors of Major League Rugby. I am Jarom Jordan alongside Ashlee Byrge. Here's what's on the show today. We will recap the big-time win against Seattle, round 9 in MLR. We will preview the matchup with Old Glory DC this week, the rest of the games in the league, and we will talk to Thomas Tuivasa, who got things going early. But first, Ashlee, what a performance by Utah against Seattle. 4-game win streak now. Things are going great.
Yeah, it was an incredible match. I was lucky enough to be on the sideline on this one, so just feeling that energy. Everybody says how tough it is to play Utah at home at Zions Bank Stadium. Warriors Nation, the fans are just incredible. I mean, I was shaking. It was so cold, and it was just a thriller. I didn't even notice. It was quite the match.
Shaking because of the weather and the fans, which is a good combination. Yeah, it was an awesome night.
It was excitement.
I just unfortunately couldn't make this game in person, but I was watching later, and I was like juiced at everything that happened. Let's recap it for you. First minute, Thomas Tuivasa scores. I feel like this really set the tone for the rest of the game that Utah was going to be on the front foot.
It did. They knew they had to make a statement. I don't think anybody expected it to be this early. The broadcast didn't even catch the first second of this try. I mean, Utah walked out of the locker room just fired up. You felt and saw that energy. They knew how important this was. And it was just an incredible look, an incredible whole steamrolling. That was the theme of this one, rolling. I mean, that is exactly what happened here.
Listen, I'm a child of the late 90s and early 2000s. That's a Limp Bizkit reference for me. So, yeah, it got things going. 2 yellow cards, however, a few minutes later. Saiohila, Joe Mano. It's 13-on-15. 10th minute penalty try given to Seattle, tied at 7. Then the yellows happen. Yet Utah did not concede, which was a pretty notable thing in this game.
Yeah, and I got to catch up with head coach Greg Cooper at halftime, talking to him about those yellows. And obviously they were disappointed in the yellows. You can't really control it at the end of the day to an extent, but they were really proud of their defensive efforts within those 10 minutes. But unfortunately, Saiohila's got a week suspension, I believe, is coming through from the league. So Utah is one of the least penalized teams in the entire league, but has the most cards out of anybody else. So just another unfortunate one to put on the board.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's those stack up. But Utah's been pretty successful without it. More on this in a moment. So later in the 21st minute, Duncan Matthews scores a try for Seattle. It's 14-7. Then Mika Kruse scores his 4th try of the season in the 26th. Mika and Joe Mano, it feels like every game these guys are scoring now.
Yeah, they connect off each other. They're friends on the field, off the field. You really see it. I feel like they have similar play styles, and they just kind of understand where each other is going to offload the ball. Utah holds the league in the highest offload percentage, and that's exactly it. I feel like Greg Cooper just encourages these guys to really play in space, and you see it there, with Joe, Lance, everybody hands on the ball. They're just looking to keep momentum and keep the ball moving, and I feel like that's where most of the Warriors tries have come from.
Is that the chillest try in the league this year? Mika kind of just rolled in there and just took his time.
On a Joe later, that's the same thing, where he's just kind of like cruising on in.
And then Joe does the great celebration, which was awesome. Okay, 2 minutes after Mika scored, before halftime, Joe Hodgson dots it down between the posts. 21-14 at this point, and Utah feeling like it has some good momentum after the first 40.
Yeah, it's been awesome to talk to Joel, too, a little bit after the games, especially with that game-winning kick just a few weeks earlier. I had talked to him what it was like to take some of these high-pressure kicks in these situations, and he's like, look, at the end of the day, this is my job. This is why they brought me on the team. This is what they expected me to do. So it's not like, he's like, it's not like it's a high-pressure situation to me. It's just what I do. It's part of my gig. And I was like, all right, well, I guess that makes sense. I wish I would have felt that when I was a kicker. But yeah, he just seems like he knows, like, this is what the team expects of me. So, slotting him in the easier minutes and the pressure moments just seems like he's on point for those.
Okay, second half, Lauina Futi, who's a real physical winger. There was some good matchups with he and Joe Mano on the edge. He ties it at 21. 7 minutes later, Joe Mano scores because it's a rugby game. So Joe Mano scores 28-21 at this point, 49th minute.
Yeah, and the celebration that everybody was talking about on that one. I think I heard earlier that Joe Mano and the wing he was up against, La Lauina, are actually cousins. So there was some family rivalry.
Oh, very nice.
on the, hey, you hit me, I'm going to hit you back. And, oh, you score. Okay, now I'm going to have to get one too. So I think there's some fun competition there. But I actually think this was a really great line by Bailey Wilson too. You're not allowed to block in rugby, but he kind of runs this supporting line here to, give Joe an inside option, but also just making it a bit easy for him to walk this one in. So I think this is kind of a collaborative team effort.
Yeah, Carelsi was kind of like just running with Bailey. It was weird. Like Joe just kind of walked it in. 2 minutes later, Seattle answers. Connor Mooneyham, former number 1 pick in MLR, 28-28. 59th minute, penalty kick by Joel Hodgson makes it 31-28. 63rd minute, Cliven Lobser, who's been really good off the bench this year. Big run by Mika Kruse. No look pass by Joel Hodgson. 36-28, up 2 scores at this point.
Yeah, it's been nice to have Cliven back in the lineup. He came off the bench in I think it was the first game of the season with an injury. And then I was talking to Kayla Mockney about it, actually, what it was going to be like to put him on the wing and Cliven at 15. And he talked about how excited he was, for what Cliven was going to be able to create for this team. And just having an extra pair of hands like that. I mean, he sees space so well. He's so fast. He plugs himself in. So I think it's been an awesome addition for the Warriors, and then still being able to keep somebody like Caleb on the field by sliding him over to wing. So the Warriors have a lot of playmakers, not necessarily Caleb's not the biggest wing. He's not the fastest wing, but putting another playmaker there by having Cliven at 15 can really benefit them, especially when he's, coming and filling in as another pair of hands.
71st minute, Lance Williams, after some patient play near the goal line, makes it 41-28. And at this point, it felt like, hey, Warriors going to win this thing, and they ended up doing it.
Yeah, exactly that. This is like, as the fans and, us, we kind of felt like the game had been won, but you could just see, the Warriors have come back in minutes of the game. They've lost in minutes of the game. So it was like the stress and tension was still so high every minute till the very last final whistle blow. But this was definitely the one that gave us a little bit of ease. Lance has been on fire this year. He's been so physical. I think the time he spent with, USA Sevens, he's gotten his fundamental skills up. He's always been this offloader, one-hander, whatever, but used to create more mistakes in it than I feel like he has this season. I think he's been really disciplined and a great, great player this year.
Seattle tacks on a try and conversion in the 79th to make it 41-35. And that's the final score. Utah beats Seattle, who 2 weeks ago was undefeated, perceived as the best team in the league. San Diego probably has that spot right now, but the hottest team in the league. The Utah Warriors, as they win 41-35. Here's some of the stats. Utah puts up 6 tries in this game, gives up 5, nails the penalty goal, 2 for 4 in conversions there. Lineouts struggled a little bit at times, but the scrums for both teams, gave up some penalties. Utah typically not penalized a ton, like you mentioned, and in the broadcast, I thought that was a really good comment. 10-9, so not a huge differential in stats, but it felt like Utah pretty much dominated this thing, minus that late try. They were at least ahead. You give up 35 points, so maybe not domination, but it felt like they were in control is what I mean.
In control for sure, but it's exactly that. By allowing Seattle those last few tries, they give them a bonus point. And in our standings, we're too close to just be happy with a win. Those bonus points really matter. So there's different things like that it's like, yeah, we won the game. Yeah, we scored 6 tries, they scored 5, but we have to be better to the point that we can't allow teams like Seattle, who are above us in the standings, to earn that extra point. And with the lineouts, another thing I talked to Greg Cooper about was Seattle is the best defensive lineout team in the league. They disrupt the most lineouts. So at halftime, Warriors were at 50% lineouts completed, and he wasn't actually that upset with the stat just because of who Seattle was.
Yeah. Certainly lineouts can be better for Utah. Okay, a couple of game notes. 4 wins in a row. This is the second most in team history. There was a 5-game streak in 2021. Best record through 8 games. How about that? 6-2. 5 of the 6 wins by 8 points or fewer. These are close games that Utah is winning. Utah overcame 2 simultaneous yellow cards in the first half, as we mentioned. Of note, Onehunga Havili left with a head injury. 41 points scored, tied 8th most in Warriors history, most allowed by Seattle this season. 76 combined points, 8th most in Warriors history. 3-4-1 versus Seattle now, and 7 of the 8 against the Seawolves, decided by single digits. They are always close games. Okay, first 15 in MLR, 2 Utah Warriors. Feels like we're saying that every week right now. Joel Hodgson and Mika Kruse certainly deserve to be in the first 15.
Yeah, I agree with that. Joel Hodgson, he has just been so key in the playmaking role. In his conversions, has made a big difference. He had 13 points, 39 meters run, 12 tackles for a number 10. He's getting himself really involved. And then Mika Cruze with his try, 110 meters run and 4 defenders beaten. I mean, that is just a powerful, powerful player. He's filling a big role with the loss of Paula Sike in that center position. And I think he's done a really great job at it.
And perhaps the best game note is the team in green was the Utah Warriors, who beat the Seattle Seawolves. That was the city edition was super cool and well played to use it against the Seawolves. Okay, the rest of the scores in round 9. San Diego takes down Chicago. New England, look at that 80 spot. That is the most points in MLR history. That is the biggest margin, and that is the most tries in a game in MLR history, 12. Houston takes down Dallas. ATL beats NOLA, who had a nice little win streak going. They lose to Rugby ATL. DC upsets New York. That is the opponent this week. We'll talk more about Old Glory in a moment. And then San Diego continues to stay atop the league at 48-24. Any surprises in round 9 to you?
Not necessarily. I feel like, especially in the West Conference, the leaders are still leading. I think the biggest upset was us, to be quite frank. The Old Glory, DC and New York is interesting to me only because the Warriors face DC in this next match. But other than that, Free Jack's getting the most tries, the most points, taking that stat from I guess that's surprising because that's quite a bit of points, but nothing else too crazy there.
Okay, you mentioned the Western Conference. It is jumbled at the top. Utah's still not in a playoff position despite the 4-game win streak. As you mentioned, the bonus point goes to Seattle for 4+ tries and keeping the margin within 6. Otherwise, they would be tied for 3rd. Houston at 31 points. San Diego, keep your calendars close. May 6th, huge game between Utah and San Diego. Can't wait for that one. In the Eastern Conference, New England still up with 30 points. Remember, Utah beat New England. Part of this win streak. New York right there. Rugby ATL and Old Glory DC tied at 20 points apiece. Anything stick out in the standings to you?
Yeah, the one thing to notice is San Diego plays Houston this week and then plays us the following week. So looking at that Western Conference, San Diego 1, Houston 2, Seattle 3, not only are we real close there, but San Diego has 2 back-to-back really tough weekends. And, a win or loss to San Diego or Houston, what's that going to do with those standings? And then to come face us at home, undefeated at home, it's exciting about that. But it's kind of upsetting for the league in a way how much more dominant the Western Conference is than the Eastern Conference. It's pretty frustrating. It is what it is, but it's like, oh yeah, we could look at those and see that, Utah would be second place in the East, but also it's like, okay, so 4 of the best teams in the league are in one conference and only 3 of them get to go to the playoffs. So,
Yep.
That's interesting to me.
And get your tickets coming up May 6th for that huge game, right?
Yep, your tickets for the next game versus San Diego. You can go online at warriorsrugby.com or call the ticketing line at 801-477-7652. This is one you're not going to want to miss. The players have called Zions Bank Stadium a fortress, and they want to protect it. Undefeated at home this year. This is a Western Conference, probably one of the best games of this season, really a defining factor in who we think the best team in this league is this year.
Certainly get a chance to prove it against San Diego coming up May 6th. Can't wait for that. Okay, the next game is coming up Saturday, April 22nd, 1 Mountain Time. You can watch this on KMYU, stream it on KSLSports.com and the Rugby Network. Listen to it on ESPN 960 and 92.1 FM. Old Glory DC comes into the game 3-5, 20 points, tied for 3rd in the East. Wins versus New York, Toronto, and Chicago. That New York one sticks out. Toronto and Chicago, 2 of the teams with fewer points than most at this point. The series is tied at 1-1. Both margins were 1 point. So these have come down to the wire with these guys. A couple storylines. DC 5th in the league with 30 tries. They make and take a lot of penalty kicks. They're 2nd in the league there. Pretty good at defending breakdown of rivals, almost 500. Utah 2nd, by the way, there. And 3rd in mauls. And a couple of players to watch. Danny Tusitala is a really good scrum half. William Talataina Mu is the center with 5 tries. That's team high. Joaquin Diaz Bonilla, no relation to Bobby Bonilla, we don't think. A fly half there. He'll kick the most. Jameson Fontanana Schultz is a good back rower who leads the team in a bunch of stuff. And Lautaro Bavaro, fun name, one of the tops in first and second arrivals on the team. So this will be a tough contest, Ashlee. Go across the country and take down a team that just beat New York.
Yeah, like you said, the series is tied 1-1, and these have been 1-point games. This isn't a team that Utah has been able to just go into saying, hey, we're going to sweep this one. They're, lower in the conference or anything like that. A 4-game win streak is great, but they have to continue to win, not just at home, but on the road.
Other games in round 10, New England hosting Rugby ATL, Dallas hosting San Diego. Jackals, hook a brother up here, maybe beat San Diego. Chicago hosting NOLA, New York hosting Houston, and then Toronto hosting Seattle. But we look forward to May 6th in 2 weeks because guess who runs the Junior Warriors? One Ashlee Byrge does. Sell us on why the kid should be out there.
That is on me. First thing, I misspoke on the San Diego-Houston game. Obviously, looking at that now. But, yeah, Dallas, do us some favors. So, anyway, Junior Warriors, there's only 3 more opportunities. The May 6th clinic is entirely sold out. So you've got 3 more opportunities. That
nice.
Shows what an awesome, chance this is. People are excited about it. May 20th, May 27th, and June 10th to get to these pregame clinics. We have a great time. We had 50 kids at the last one. There'll be 50 kids on the 6th. That's where we cap it at. So get registered early at junior.warriorsrugby.com.
Fantastic. All right. Our guest today is Thomas Tuaval, loose forward for the Utah Warriors, who scored the first try against Seattle. Thomas, how you doing, man? Welcome to the program.
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. How are you guys?
Hey, we're pretty good. Is the little bump against the face, that's just part of being a rugby player?
Yeah. Part of being a rugby player and part of being a dad. So
sometimes those.
Tell us which one that was from.
Yeah, I'll keep that quiet.
Yeah. Well, what was it like to score the try in the first minute of the game? It felt like that really set the tone of you guys being on the front foot in this game.
Yeah, I think from the most part of the season we struggled to start fast. So to be able to score off our first set piece of the game was nice. Just a quick second phase try, so felt good to get over the line too, and it went the way it was drawn up.
When you talk about the win streak and what's going well, what have you guys discovered the last 4 games here that is working for you?
I think what we're known for is being physical, especially in the forward pack. Like, we're known for having a scrum, we're known for having a good maul. We're known for playing defense physically, but one thing that's really clicking at this point in the season is the back line. I think even though Paul Asike isn't in the lineup at the moment, he's down, but I think for the most part, like, the plays and the system, the backs have it down, and that, if we can give them good platform and quick ball, then they're able to do what they're good at doing, and you see that with Mika, Joe, and Jolie. So it's fun to watch. It's nice to see them get over the line, and we're just standing up from a maul, trying to catch breath, and they're going over the try line. So,
yeah, as I mentioned earlier, like, looking at the amount of playmakers in that back line now, Joel being such a great addition, Cliven being back healthy at 15, making Caleb be available at wing, that's that made a big difference, just having those voices, that communication back there?
Yeah. Cliven is an athlete. He's quick, but he's also kind of a silent assassin. He doesn't really say much. So to have Joel and his attention to detail and how he runs practices and how he runs the offense, and to have Caleb in there as well. And same thing for Mika. He's just quiet, but puts his head down, does what he does. So it's fun to have two loud guys in the back line while just a complete bunch of playmakers at the same time.
How much more fun have you had playing kind of in that back row as opposed to lock last year, where there were some depth issues?
Don't even get me going. When Saya got slapped with that yellow card, and it hit me that I was going to be scrumming at lock. It was having some PTSD, some flashback. And
somehow you guys didn't concede during that 13-on-15. I mean, are you guys used to playing with a yellow card? Unfortunately, it's happened a lot.
At this point, yeah, but 2 yellows at the same time is kind of new. So I think.
Sorry, you can finish up.
No. I just think we did a good job of scrambling on defense, and so yeah, it was good.
Another big loss was, Unahunga getting that HIA. I had noticed earlier in the match, when he was out on the field, you guys had him slotting on the outside on the wing next to Joe, where Bailey normally is, and Bailey was playing, infield a little bit. What was all that about?
Yeah. So I think Bailey has such a high work rate. Like, it's so good to have him in the middle and be involved on defense. And I think Onehunga is effective in the same way, but if you put him on the edge against some backs, it's a bit of a cheat code, as you can see at times. So I think that's a game plan. So yeah.
Okay, big game at DC this week. Who just beat New York, the champs. What will it take to keep this win streak going?
Yeah. I mean, Greg Coops has put together a good defensive game plan. We know that they have the ability to play loosely and to get the ball out wide, kind of like we do from time to time. So I think we're just going to have to lock down on defense and grind it out in some humid temperatures out that way. So I think we're just going to keep doing what we do best and play physical and just let the backs do what they do.
How different is this season with the kid and not playing lock?
I think not playing lock is the biggest difference. No, it's fun. It's fun to have him after the game on the sideline. My wife just bobbing him up and down, and I get to take quick pictures with him, and it's fun to come home to him as well. So other than that, I think just the biggest difference is not playing lock. So hopefully it stays that way.
And this team's been so fun to watch. Real shades of 21, where it's like the ball's just getting wide and you guys are scoring, and obviously kind of a similar group but a different group. And Joel Hodgson, with that experience, like, what kind of difference has he made on this team, where not only on the pitch but off it with his leadership?
Yeah, I mean, he's the grumpiest Englishman alive, but at the same time, he's one of the funniest. So it's good to have him around, and he's large and in charge a lot of the time. So he does a lot of on the fly things, which is good. I think the backs react to him well, and so it's nice to have that vocal playmaking 10 going on. So.
And he's been kicking a lot. You had a kick the other day. What was it, 2 weeks ago?
Oh yeah. I've had two. I had one against Houston. That was questionable. Probably should have done that. The one against Toronto wasn't too bad, considering it was on the fly. So
yeah. Was that like rugby league part of you coming out, or what happened there?
No, I never in my life had the green light to kick.
That's awesome, man.
Running some stop signs.
Yeah, you're like, Coops, I got skills, man. Put me back there. Yeah. Like I can play. I'm everything but a lock. I think that's what you told him, right?
Yeah. If I can kick, well, maybe they'll put me at fullback instead of lock. So yeah,
you're like, I can kick as well as Mika. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Let's go. Mika's got an underrated boot, by the way.
Yeah, he does.
Tommy, best of luck wrangling Sunny and trying to wrangle DC Saturday. We'll see you, and we look forward to it. Thanks, man.
That's the plan. Thanks for having me.
Okay, Thomas Tuaval on Dub Nation. Always good to have him on the show.
Absolutely. Well, if you guys are heading out to that May 6th game or not, make sure you check out our team store. Get all your kids been updated. The team store at the game has gotten its own little upgrade there as well. So get your Warriors gear at shop.warriorsrugby.com. Ton of good kid in there. Best looking kid in the league. Can't deny the good red and black.
Oh, the dudes are looking good in the red and black. They look nice.
Gear.
I didn't know we had models on the team.
Not those dudes.
Jeez.
They're scrubby.
Hey, shout out to the Utah Warriors players Colson Warner and Elijah Hayes, who played for the USA Hawks against Argentina's U20 team Saturday. Way to rep the Warriors in the red, white, and blue. Pretty cool. Of course, Ashlee, you did as well, which is awesome. Okay, that'll do it for us. Like and share this episode of Dub Nation and follow the Utah Warriors on social media. We'll talk to you Saturday for Utah at Old Glory, DC, 1 Mountain Time on KMYU, KSLSports.com, the Rugby Network, ESPN 960 and 92.1 FM. Our thanks to Thomas Tuaval. Today's show was produced by Mason Benson. For Ashlee, I am Jarom. Go Warriors.